We acknowledge the First Nations people of Canberra, the Ngunnawal people. We acknowledge the Crown Prince of Tonga, Tupoto Urukalala, and his house, who currently reside here. The High Commissioner of Tonga for Australia, Her Royal Highness Princess Latufuipeka Tukuaho. The political leaders of this country, representatives of other Pacific nations here, the leaders of the Tongan community elsewhere and here also, and all of you who have joined us here today on Dialogue in the Capital or Potatala ai Kolomua, live stream program from Lo'au University here in Canberra, Australia. My name is Luciane Lafitani, and on this rather cold and wet Canberra afternoon, the 7th of June 2022, my guest on this program today is the beautiful Lavinia Ma'u Pohiva. Lavinia is from the most beautiful island in Tonga, she tells me, Vava'u. She's an extremely loud and proud Polynesian woman. She's a forensic mental health nurse and is currently working in Canberra at the Doula, I'll get her to say that for you because I just cannot say it, Secure Mental Health Centre here in Canberra. She's also just completed her Masters in Mental Health Nursing from the University in Newcastle. A brilliant young woman we have here. And I have had Lavinia in the program about just over a year ago. So it's timely that she's back again because she's so busy to have a chat with us. Welcome, Lavinia.
Warm Pacific greetings to you, Luciane.
Oh, we need the warm.
Definitely, and I'm really humble and grateful for the introductions. Wow, and also humble to be here. Just like to acknowledge the Lo'au University and also the good work that you and Professor Sosio has been doing here in Canberra. Very
MALO.
proud of you too, and
MALO.
thank you for having me.
MALO, Lavinia. So I think because you've been away for too long, let's do a bit of a catch up to see, where you've been, what you've been up to. I know you've just been extremely busy working and studying and mothering also, as a lot of women do when they're trying to juggle, so many things in their lives. So what have you been up to?
Just like studying. I just finished my Masters. So I did the Masters of Mental Health through the University of Newcastle here, and also just working. Shift work is really hard, and trying to keep up with family, being involved with church. I'm just super busy trying to make a life, a
Yes.
living. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I reckon you can successfully do that if you have support.
Oh, I'm very
And I know
humbled. I'm very humbled
do.
to have such a caring husband who defines all the Tongan role of a man. He is like always been there. He's my rock, helping, and I have the support of my kids too, who were helping me as well.
Yes.
I've learned a lot from them, and I'm very grateful to have such a little support, and my brother as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where we, define support. Support can come in many, many, many different ways. And you seem to have, a whole lot. You have not just your family, but you've got your extended family. You've got your church community and, the Tongan community here in Canberra that you're in contact with. But I guess because of COVID, there hasn't been that much gathering or whatever happening here, has there?
Yeah, and I'm quite blessed because even though there is a lot of the Tongan community, I try and share my time between different areas with family, church. I also tried to join an exercise group, which was good for a bit, but prioritizing is very important for me, especially because I do shift work.
Tell me a bit about your exercise group.
It was the Brumbies.
I'm always interested in listening and observing exercise groups. One day I shall join, but so it's the Brumbies.
The Brumbies, the Canberra Kauwaiwai, but I haven't been going for a long time.
Canberra Kauwaiwai.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in that group?
Actually,
that should be my group.
Actually, just the Kauwaiwai, the Grupa Kauwaiwai, like the group for the the weak. Not the elderly, but the weak. Vai means not strong, but weak.
Oh, so it's that vai.
Yeah.
So exercise for the...
It can be anything. It's how you define the word vai. You know, the Tongan word can mean elderly, can mean weak, it can mean so many things. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit, my headspace is going all different directions, Lavinia.
So you're going with the
because
definition.
Yes, because I actually thought it was a group for the elderly.
No.
So
in relation to health.
So vai mean weak, as in...
so it depends on the context with Tongans, because loto vai means like like a heart that is not strong. It depends, so it has to go with the context. So with regards to fitness, kulupakau vai means
it can be body, so the weak body.
Yeah.
So it's about strengthening
your body.
Yes, physical body, and hopefully your mind also, because we know that when we're fit, you are fit in, I guess. Yeah, so I can see now the definition, and I'm glad that you have come and clarified that for me, because I actually thought it was for the elderly.
It can be anything. The thing with the exercise is it's in your own pace, and you do anything you want, and which relates to health overall, and I think it was poetic whoever came up with the name Kulupakau Vai, because you can say it's for the elderly, you can say it's for the weak, you can say it's for anything really.
Right, so is there a set classes that you join?
So they exercise, and I used to go at 4 a.m. I can tell you it was the biggest challenge in my life just to wake up.
That has just, I've just pulled out of the class now. 4 o'clock in the morning is I'm somewhere else in my head. So it's a 4 o'clock class?
Yes, a group. So everybody just has their own levels, and you just go in there and you go into the extreme, the beginners, or whatever. I always go there just to people watch.
So
the beginners.
So you have facilitators who run the classes?
Yes, they do. Yeah. So
4 o'clock? Yeah. Goodness me.
I think it was a very, very good initiative, and I support it, but just my lifestyle right now with my studies when I was studying, it just got a little bit too much for me as a working mom, a full-time working mom doing shift work.
But what's good about that sort of stuff is that you can always you
can rejoin anytime.
Yes. So is it a big group?
It is. It's very much, and people from different ages of the Tongan community join. There's the youth, there's the elderly, there's those who just want to lose some weight and stuff. And I really admire and enjoy, and it's motivated me, Luciana, because when you go to the gym, you actually get intimidated by these fit young people. But when you go to the gym with your own people, playing your own music, dancing, having a good time, also it's good for the language, like hanging out with the Tongans and speaking our own language and being proud of your body, a Tongan body. I'm not talking about a size 4 model body. But being proud and just, you get inspired.
Because I think it's a healthy outlook.
Yes.
To feel comfortable in your body and in your skin, and I know that most of our young people are quite comfortable, because they're, they're full of beans, our young, and I see some of our young women, and they're just so loud, and I love watching our young women when they get together.
I think it's important that we, acknowledge that our kids, we actually train them at such a young age, unintentionally knowing through the whakame, which is the White Sunday. So public speaking comes natural for our people, because they already do it every, whakame o lau le soni, they're up there reading their scriptures, they're up there talking in public, and our kids are they're comfortable, like you said, with who they are and how to actually carry themselves.
Yes.
But then you have the extreme who get anxious because
See, that's the
yeah.
other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And we do have the other side of the
Yeah.
coin.
I think because of mental health, it's very important that you have self-awareness. As a Tongan, as a proud woman, you you shouldn't compare yourself to other people, especially here in Canberra. I know a lot of our people put too much expectation. Don't. You are only you. You can love only yourself and be proud. Doesn't matter what other people think about who you are. If you understand where you are from, who you are, and the family that you have, and the support you have, you can go places. You can do whatever you want.
Yes. And I know, with your work, Lavinia, with your study, and it's quite exciting stuff because of what you've been, looking at, and I guess you'll be looking at the future is, like maybe forming programs, getting people together, maybe look at running groups. What do you see is the most needed here with let's just go to young people?
Oh, so that kind of like relates to the my research proposal that I actually used for my last assignment for doing research, which was looking at the health inequities of our Pacific Island, particularly Tongan young people growing up here in Canberra. It was a topic that I discussed with my two boys. So my two boys are upcoming sports athletes, and we were looking at the resources available to support them, not just physically but mentally. And one of the biggest issues that I also did identify was the risk. The risk, especially in particular to our young people with suicide, the risk of them not developing into their full potential as young adults. And unfortunately, there's never been a study, Luciane, to look at our people, especially here in Canberra, how the Tongans are actually living here, and how being as a young Tongan person growing up here in Canberra, you can be affected by the society and what are the different issues that they face. Whether it be depression, anxiety, psychosis, all these things, factors that might affect the health outcome for our young people.
Yeah.
And also looking at diabetes, you're looking at all the other physical issues that might be affected growing up here in Canberra for our young people. And it doesn't look good, especially for our young people, because there is such a high need for them.
Yeah. So, all those things that you've just spoken about, and when we look, let's just look at Canberra, our city, and I know you've been looking, you've been talking to people, you've been observing, young people at church and at community functions, and you have an idea of what's going on here. What would be the first thing to do, say, if, for the young people I'm talking about, let's start, say, with mental health. What would be the first thing that you think we need to do?
Yeah, so pretty much for our young people, we need to enable them to actually seek help when they're actually in the lowest of their lowest. Like, for example, Luciane.
Because I'll just butt in there. Most of our young people live at home with their parents. So I'm thinking, if a young person is wanting help and support, I'm wondering whether our community also needs education too. Say if I had a young person, I need to know, if I'm looking at Lavinia and she's not happy today, what do I need to do? Who do I talk to? Because I think some of the things that happen is that we don't know who to talk to. We don't know the first point of call, or we're too ashamed to go and ask for help.
Yeah, so whakamā is a big thing in our culture.
Yeah.
That is not an enabler, it's actually a barrier.
Oh, absolutely.
So shame is something like stigma, discrimination needs to be addressed. For our young people, it's very important that we nurture them. It might not be the mother and the father, but creating a safe sort of environment, whether it be family or church, having someone that they can trust, that they can talk to about their feelings. You know, there is a lot of resources available in the community, but our people are not aware, or it's too embarrassing to seek those resources or speak to them. We're very proud people, but hello, we are proud, but we should also know where to get access for help. Especially in mental health is very complicated. It is not clear cut like diabetes.
Yes.
Like for example, with diabetes, you get your blood and it's like, oh, your blood sugar level is point something, so you need to go and see your diabetes nurse. With mental health, self-awareness and self-caring is very important. And so one of the biggest things that we need to do is promote awareness of what is normal, like feelings, like your mood. It is okay to be depressed, but when it gets to this point, you need to seek help. It is okay to be happy, but when you're over happy, you need to go and seek help. So a lot of our people are like, for example, Luciane, they don't know, and they're ashamed. Like, you know, like a lot of them don't want to discuss it. But I think as leaders of our community, leaders of our own family, we need to be aware. We need to look at our young person, and if you see that they're sad or see if they're not right, you say, hey, what's going on there, Luciane? I see that you're not coming out of your room. What's happening? You know, and you can look. Our people are very intuitive. We can see when someone needs help, and don't be afraid to say, "Hey, buddy, what's happening?" Or son, "Hey, I noticed that this is, you know, you're not your usual self. Why aren't you, you know, interested in going out to your cousins while you're not eating?" And there are like little warning signs that you can actually see, and then you can say, hey, you know, do you want to talk about it? I think it's very important that parents are aware of their children. I mean, for me, I always say to my husband, if the kids don't want to talk to you, they can talk to me, or we've got uncle here, you know, but you know, it is very complicated.
And that sort of trust has to be nurtured.
Yes.
You know, within a family or within a group, because it's okay to say, look, they can come and talk to you, but if your children aren't used to talking to you, then how are they going to come and talk to you? You know, maybe their safe place or safe person to talk to is their peer, you know, is a friend of theirs. So I guess what brings to mind, sorry, Lavinia, is the fact that there needs to be programs to educate and inform our communities. And I think that's one of the things that you're going to be looking at, you know.
Yes.
So, because all the things you're saying, all I can think of is that we need to tell people.
Yeah.
How do we inform people? Is that we need to have programs to inform our people of what needs to happen. Hey?
Yeah, I think, Luciane, we are so blessed. I mean, we have the Mana Pasifika whānau service that we have. We also like have churches. There's a lot of resources available in our community, especially in the Tonga community. But I guess it's the way we also deliver it. It's a very sensitive topic, mental illness, because it's, how do I say it? It is not the favorite topic to talk about. Mental health is always being stigmatized. It's always been seen by our people as something that is not talked about. You know, we have patients who are Tonga, but once they come into mental health, it's out of sight, out of mind. A lot of our people don't actually acknowledge it, which is really sad. Like I said before in our previous program, if it's okay for you to have heart problems, why is it not okay for you to have something wrong with your brain? Yeah?
Absolutely.
But also there's a lot of stigma and shame. Our people need to come to us and be open. Be open with the fact that there is a need for acknowledging that we have mental illness, and be like, you know, and own it. So a lot of people would like not come to, like, for example, it is like 1 out of 2 people experience depression, so they go to their GP, but it's okay for them to go to their GP, but it's not okay for them to go to a mental health service. And then it's really sad. We also have a word in health called poor health literacy, which means a lack of understanding.
Yes.
So if you don't understand, then how are you supposed to seek help?
Absolutely.
And I think for us in our Tongan community here in Canberra, promoting awareness is a big thing, and I think we should deliver it in a way that is culturally appropriate and sensitive to our people. And a lot of people don't like being told what to do, but they like to acknowledge, and actually they want to take ownership and know how to actually look after themselves. I think for me, if we have a workshop to actually promote self-awareness and also promote mental illness in a way that is culturally sensitive and appropriate to our people, I can definitely do that, Luciane, because I know for a lot of our people it is very hard to actually acknowledge it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is something that has to happen, and it will happen.
Yes.
I was just thinking about community education and taking it to the community, and I remember quite a few years back when I wanted to go and talk to our Tongan community here, church communities here, about domestic violence. And that was a pretty difficult task, Lavinia, as you would know, because it's something that we know happens, but we don't really like to talk about it. We know who does it, but we don't really want to say anything to that person. So it is difficult having to work with our communities, but it still should never ever stop us from doing what we need to do. So community education, and especially with mental health, as you were saying, if that person knows that they're not well, to go and talk. If that person is too unwell to know what to do, the people around that person should know or should be responsible to go and get some help. So, which is why it's so important to have community education happening, and it will, I guess, happen very soon in the near future, Lavinia, because as we're talking, I think we are both realizing how important this thing is.
It is. It's very important, and like you said, a lot of our people, because of poor health literacy and lack of awareness, don't even know where to go to seek help, don't even know how to access help. There is a lot of services that are out there for mental health, but like you said too, like whakama, shame, it plays such a, it is an barrier.
And I think for people to know, it's not just with our community, it's with all different communities. It's universal, this shame around mental health, and if you can't cope, why can't I cope? Or if your child can't cope, why can't he cope? I've done the best I can. So parents tend to feel like it's their fault, so therefore they're not going to go and tell anyone about, because it might show up that they haven't done their job as parents. But mental health, as Lavinia said, 1 out of 3 in Australia.
1 out of 2 people suffer depression. And it can be a short depression, it can be a short episode, it can be, but a lot of the most prescribed medication, mental health medication, is antidepressant.
Yeah, and it's misused too.
Yeah, and a lot of our people don't even know they're taking it.
Yes.
Can you believe that, Luciane? A lot of our people don't know that they're on antidepressant and they're taking it, and and they don't even know the side effects of the medications and stuff like that.
Which is what, with the program that you're going to be formulating, so that you can take it out there to the community, it'll be talking about not just about mental illness or mental health or whatever, but also about medication and its effects. Yeah. So that's your field, isn't it?
Yes, we love to. So for me, you're looking at a person as a whole, like a holistic perspective. You're not just looking at their mental illness, but you're looking at everything, including environment. Like, is this person safe? to, you know, growing up, like you talked about domestic violence, and you can, you know, when you do your risk assessments and stuff like that, you look at the person and you're like, how can I best support this person to live a life worth living? It's not just okay to exist. It is not okay to exist. You have to be safe, and you have to be able, as a young Tongan growing up in Canberra, grow up feeling that you are able to live out the best life that you can, that you have the support from our community to be who you want to be, and be proud. You know, our people need to know that, like, you know, we have traveled the Pacific, and you know, we have conquered so many little islands, and you know, we're descendants of people who were, like I said, warriors, who have a lot of resources, and you know, who are very capable. So I mean, what's our excuse for the next generation? I mean, we are the people to guide them. We are the people to help them grow up in an environment that is safe, and that they can be the best person that they could be.
And if we think about ourselves, just think about yourself. There are times in your life when you feel like you can't cope, you know, and you just are sad because you can't cope. And it's hard to talk to someone because you can't cope, because you feel like everyone expects you to cope, you know, to just get on with it. And you know, your parents would say, oh, stop that and just get on with it, get on with life, you know. But and knowing that there are times in your life that you can't cope. This is how mental health is. You know, there is a time that someone just cannot cope, maybe finds it hard to get on with the day, maybe finds it hard to get out of bed, you know, and that's one of the things that you need to be aware of, not to let it go on and on and on, because the longer it is, the harder it is to get them out of that, you know, little cocoon. So I guess intervention needs to happen early.
Big time. And I think because of our Tongan culture, we heal as a family. In the Western society is so much an individual thing, but in the Tongan and even in the Pacific community, and I think the Aboriginal, it is a family. We heal together, you know, and it's very important. And as family, we can see when someone is actually not coping, and it's important that you actually take time. I mean, a lot of us, our Tongan, growing up as a Tongan, we have what you call whakawhamiri, where they have the prayer we have in the morning. And I love that. There's one thing that I love about being Tongan is that you have things in place that are already in place that we need to just remember and remind ourselves of to
tap
do.
Into.
Like for example with I think I shared this before, Luciana, with the kaliloa, you know, having the mother you know, pillow talk, stretching out her arm, having her child in her arm, saying, hey son, what have you been doing? Hello, you know, beautiful daughter, what was your day like? And just checking in with your kids is very important.
And I know it's hard sometimes because you're busy. Eh? I mean, when I look at you, Lavinia, you study, you work, you're a mother, you know, you're a community person. Sometimes you're busy, but you really need to make time.
Definitely.
So important.
Take time, talk to your child. You know, a good time is when you're reading to your kids. Whenever I read to Siwa, that's a good time. And then I check in. I say, Siwa, how was your school? What did you like about school? Things like that. And just start a conversation, just as long as your child feels safe, knows that you're listening, and that he or she has, you know, your time, even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but that's your time with them. And it's very important. It's very important that you nurture these our children, especially here in this society where it's very much task orientated, and that you go to work, you go to this, you go to that. Make sure, and then embrace your son when they have failings in life. Give them a hug and tell them,
that's okay, you can try harder next time. Because what's happening too, Luciana, is that we're not teaching our kids, or we're not actually giving them realistic reality check where
Yeah.
it's okay to fail, or it's
Yes.
okay to feel sad,
Yeah.
but we'll do better tomorrow. You can, you can pick yourself up tomorrow. Have a, like I always say, have a mental health day, relax, and just, look after yourself. Because how are you then supposed to look after others when you're not actually
That's right.
healing yourself?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important as a mental health nurse, especially for me, that I'm always constantly aware of
Yes.
where I am and what I'm doing and what's happening for me, because otherwise some people tend to project all those negative feelings onto other people,
Yeah.
and then you're not realizing that you're the bad apple.
Yes.
You're the bad apple.
But I guess with that, Lavinia, and you're skilled, and you know your stuff and you're experienced, but you don't have to be a nurse, mental health nurse,
No.
to know that someone is unwell, or to know that you're not well enough and you need some help. When you're not sure, just ask. That is one of the greatest things. It doesn't make you dumb that you don't know. Lots of people, I don't know, and I ask. I ask so many times during the day. There's nothing wrong with questioning and asking if you're not sure.
That's right. And sometimes, Luciana, you just need to just get validation. When you ask and then you say, okay, sai pe koe. I'm like, oh, okay. It's just all in my head.
But also at the same token, and I know our, growing up in the family and also having friends and stuff, there's been times when, someone's a little bit down, but they're, sometimes that can be okay for a minute, but you need to keep checking, because sometimes sometimes that can progress onto full on, illness, and then it's harder to then try and look after. But at the end of the day, we need to remove. When you said before, Lavinia, why do we, if someone has heart problems, we accept it because they're sick.
Yeah.
And yet someone's brain isn't working, and yet we make fun of it, or we're ashamed of that person. We need to remove all that stuff so that we can then become healthier as a community. Because one unhealthy person in a community, we are all needing to support that person, We all need to help that person. So we need to remove all those little things that make us uncomfortable about mental health and just talk about it more.
Yeah.
I think.
A lot of people are unaware too. So I think being aware of things like your own self, like your own limits, because like you said, we sometimes can give someone some time to self-regulate. Self-regulate, if they're unhappy, if they're grumpy, give them space, let them settle down. When they're consistently angry and violent and also, or depressed and not actually helping themselves to regulate, that's when we say, hey, I noticed that you're not actually eating, or I noticed that you punched the wall. What is happening? Because we are curious people, and Tongans they like to know.
Yes.
We're so nosy. Why not put those skills into something productive?
It's good to be nosy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be
good to be
productive
nosy.
and say, okay, I noticed that's happened. How can I best support you? And then sometimes you just say, hey, I just need to understand. I'm not judging, because a lot of our people think, fear ilo, loud, whatever, so you're judging me right now. It is not about judging you, it's about asking you to make me understand. I want to understand how you're feeling, and I want to understand how I can help you. And sometimes a lot of people just need someone to talk to.
Yeah. And I think it'd be for us to remember, like if someone came and said to me, Luciane, I noticed that your little one over there is not being okay. I've noticed the last couple of weeks at church she's been quiet. Not to be offended,
Yes.
but to say, I'll take notice. I will, and I know even though sometimes you think, see, if you're ill or whatever, I think sometimes we need to be aware that someone is looking out, and it's not out of malice, but it's out of care. If we just think, this person is caring about what's happening with my little one, then maybe accept that, that's what that person is doing. Because that's why it's hard to say to someone.
Exactly.
It's so hard because you don't know what the response would be.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a response or a reaction.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, because people are consistently anxious and feel that they're being judged. Remember, anxiety is also part of the mental health issues. It's very important that we are open-minded, and we also say, I'm not here to judge you, I just want to understand and lend a helping hand. And if it's not going to cause you anything, please tell me what's going on with your daughter. How can I help? Because a lot of people feel even more vulnerable when they're actually low in their mood, and and then it can be like, anxiety can be manifested in so many things. They can come across as being defensive. So it's about being able to read and know, especially your own members of your family, and then and don't be judgmental. Don't judge. In the New Zealand mental health, they have a logo that says, know me before you judge me. I think that's very important.
I was thinking also, Lavinia, that when you talk about if you see that there's changes in your child or in your grandchild's behavior, and it could be not even just being sad and locking themselves up, but even anger. Like as you said, if they're, kids do get angry. They do, have a bit of a tiff, a fit now and again. But if that behavior is consistent, then there's something, and it's not normal for that person to do that. Then that there is something to be checked.
Because like I said, young people growing up, young Tongans growing up in this Western society, and here, they have access to drugs. They have access to alcohol. It's very important that you're aware of what your children or what they're doing, so that you can be able to offer help. There are services available to help our young people, especially, Luciana, you worked in domestic violence. There are so many risks, and there are so many hidden behaviors that we do, like red flag. There's something else going on there.
And I think it's just, because for instance, the last, I guess, 6-7 years of my working life was with youth and mental health with the Headspace clinic. It is, there's so many different, you need to be so aware and alert, especially with young people, because they are experiencing every day of their life, there's different things happening. So many complex things happen at school, with their friends, with their study, with their parents, So if a young person, as you said, if a young person isn't safe at home, there is someone there somewhere in a service, or maybe in a school or in the church, that young person needs to be able to talk to. And I guess with your program, your education program that's going out there to inform our community, it'll be making sure that there's a lot more scope for that young person to get help. There's a lot more people will be informed, and they'll know what to do if someone came up and said, something's not going well at home, or and I know and that program is going to go out to young people too. You're going to.
I think it's important that we start somewhere, and I think starting with because our Tongans are very much into church. So starting somewhere is very important, and our Tongans, Coconut Wireless is faster than the internet.
It is.
So they will talk, and when they do talk, I hope that they talk about the right things. I hope that they're not talking about the wrong things, but also, they will be able to be self-aware and aware of the resources and the help that's available in the community with mental health, even if it's from older adult, and yes,
That's right.
older adults do have mental illness.
Yes, they do.
From
Every
older
age.
adult to even down to the young people.
Yes.
And it's so sad, but we are currently building a hospital, or have developed a hospital for mental health for young people.
Yes.
Yeah, starting at a young age in Sione.
Absolutely.
So it's very sad, but it's the reality.
That is a reality of now, of societies now. And I was thinking back, Lavinia, back in 2003 and 4, Potatala Kolomoa, which was a youth program here then, also went out. We went to the church, Civic Church, Uniting Church was our first meeting place.
Wow.
We called a meeting there, and we called in the police, the task force, we called in people from domestic violence, we called in all the services, and we all met there in the church group, the women, mostly the women came, and it was quite exciting. So that's where it's nice, it's great that you mentioned that, because that's a great place to start.
I think it is very important, and we all share the same values, and being proud, and that's where it's got to begin. So I'm actually developing and hoping, because I belong to the Sestora Bonistu Done Church, and so I'm hoping to develop something
that could be a start
for our young people, and just promoting a self-awareness,